My name is Deb, and I'm here to talk about hair loss. I want to share my experience with a Proteron DHT blocker in the hopes that maybe it's going to help somebody else with hair loss issues. So here's my story. I'm 52 now, but when I was in my mid 40s going through perimenopause, I noticed my hair starting to shed. I remember being in the shower and just shampooing my hair and handfuls of hair just falling into the shower drain. And then the hairline at the temples starting to recede a little bit. And then my ponytails kind of starting to get thinner and thinner year over year. And it wasn't just the hair loss. My hair looked unhealthy. It was dull and just kind of lifeless. So I did what I think a lot of people with hair loss issues do. I started wearing hats. And then I went out and I spent a ton of money on some really expensive extensions that just absolutely destroyed my hair, made everything so much worse. Don't do it. I tried these eBay toppers and oh, these ponytail extensions that they sell all the time online that just looked so fake. And then I was buying expensive shampoos and horse shampoos and topicals that just left my hair looking really greasy. And at one point, I actually went and saw a Chinese medicine hair loss specialist. And I left with all of these smelly, crazy, weird supplements that I don't even know what was in them. It wasn't in English. I don't know. Nothing made sense. I looked at diets. Maybe I could manage it with changing the food I was eating. Didn't matter. Nothing worked. Year over year, more hair loss, to the point where it started to really kind of impact my life in a negative way. I think my self-esteem at that point was just in the dumps. I didn't feel secure. I didn't feel feminine. I didn't feel youthful. I didn't look healthy. And I'm embarrassed to say I canceled on social engagements with friends sometimes because I just didn't feel like messing around with my hair. It impacted intimacy with my spouse. I didn't feel sexy. I was frustrated with my own stupid vanity in caring so much about hair. I hated it. So at that point, I'm sitting in my hairdresser's chair and I'm like, just cut it all off. I'm over it. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang on. Have you tried Fibron Proteron DHT blocker? And I'm like, whatever. At that point, I was ready to just ignore any advice because I was so defeated, but she didn't let me cut it all off. And I went home and I'm thinking about, she has such beautiful hair. And I'm like, all right, I'll at least look at it. So as I started researching it, I knew a little bit about DHT blockers and how important that was to combating hair loss, but so many of them are prescription or over the counter, but they contain a bunch of chemicals. And for me, it's really important that things I'm using are as natural as possible. Plus, I had read that if you use some of these over-counter chemical products, and while they may work, if you stop using them, boom, hair loss immediately back. And I'm like, do I want to take that for the rest of my life just to kind of maintain a little bit of hair on my head? So I started reading about the ingredients on this, and I'm like, okay, biotin, for example, that was something that I immediately went, okay, I know that's good for hair, for nails, for skin. So I'm not surprised to see that as an ingredient. Green tea was another ingredient where I'm like, you know what? I always need to drink more green tea, but I never do it with any consistency. So I'm like, a supplement's probably not a bad idea. It's funny when we talk about things like iron, B vitamins, which we know combats stress and cortisol, D, zinc, keeping those things at optimal levels is important just for your overall health, but accomplishing that through diet alone can be really hard sometimes. And oftentimes we're left with deficiencies. What I didn't connect was how much those things impact the health of your hair and hair loss. I love that this has natural ingredients, things like saw palmetto. So that's a hormone balancer, which for me, I knew was a major issue because I was perimenopausal and now I'm menopausal. Everything that's listed on here are vitamins and nutrients and antioxidants and things that I can pronounce for the most part, and that I know are beneficial, not just for my hair, but to my overall health. So for me, I looked at this and I'm like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Look, it's 2 easy to swallow capsules per day. Look, that's something that I can manage. So 6 months, I start to see baby hairs. I'm noticing less hair in my brush. My hair is starting to look healthier and shinier. And now it's longer than it's been in years. And I have some confidence back. I'm really proud of my hair. The results have been nothing short of amazing. In fact, my hairdresser actually just took a photo after our last little trim appointment so she could, and color, so that she could show her clients. Because even she was like, I didn't quite think it would grow this much. Look, Proteron by Fabron has worked better than anything that I have ever tried. So if you are sick of hair loss and really want to just see some positive changes, I am going to put the link to this Proteron DHT blocker. It's so hard to say, in the link below. I highly recommend it. And if no one has told you today, you are beautiful. My name is Deb, and I am going to talk a little bit about hair loss today. I want to share my experience with this Proteron DHT blocker in the hopes that maybe it's going to help somebody else out there that's suffering from hair loss issues. So here's my story. I'm 52 now, but when I was in my mid 40s and I started going through perimenopause, I noticed my hair starting to shed. I mean, I remember being in the shower and just starting to notice every time I would shampoo, handfuls of hair just falling into the drain. And then the hairline at my temples just kind of starting to recede a little bit. And then the ponytails started to get thinner and thinner year over year. And it wasn't just the hair loss. Look, my hair looked unhealthy. You could just see it was dull and it was really lifeless. And I think I did what a lot of people with hair issues do. I started wearing hats a lot. And then I went out and I spent a bunch of money on really expensive extensions that just absolutely destroyed my hair and made everything so much worse. So please don't ever do that. And then I tried buying these toppers on eBay. Oh, and these ponytail extensions that I look back now at photos and I'm like, oh gosh, that looks so fake. I was buying all these expensive shampoos and horse shampoo and like stuff that you put in that made my hair look really greasy. And oh, I went to a Chinese medicine hair loss specialist and he gave me like piles of these really stinky, smelly supplements that I don't even know what was in them, that wasn't in English. And then I started looking at diets and maybe it's a food issue, something I can manage on my, like nothing worked. Nothing worked. And year over year, it was just more hair loss, to where I got to a place where it was impacting my life. I mean, my self-esteem was in the dumps. I felt insecure. I didn't feel feminine. I didn't feel like I looked youthful or healthy. And I canceled sometimes on friends. I mean, it was impacting my social life. I just was embarrassed. It impacted the intimacy with my spouse. I didn't feel sexy. I was frustrated. I was frustrated with my own vanity and caring so much about my stupid hair. So I'm sitting in my hairdresser's chair and I'm just like, just cut it off, cut it all off, like shave it. I don't care. And she's like, hey, have you tried this Proteron DHT blocker? Sorry. And I mean, at that point, I almost just ignored her because I was so defeated, but she wouldn't let me cut it completely off. And I went home. I was thinking about like how beautiful her hair is, and like I'm going to at least look at it. So I had read about blocking DHT and that can help with hair loss, but I had always shied away from those types of products and systems because a lot of them are either prescription, or even if they're over the counter, they contain a ton of weird chemicals. And I am somebody who really believes in keeping things as natural as possible. Plus, I had read and heard that some of this stuff that, you can go buy at your local drugstore, it might work, on the front end, but if you stop using it, oh, forget about it. Like it's all going to fall out. And I just thought, what a racket. Like I'm going to have to use this. It's expensive for the rest of my life. So I start reading the ingredients and I'm like, okay, on this biotin. And I'm like, okay, I know that that's something that is great for your hair, your nails, and your skin. So I'm not surprised to see that as an ingredient. I'm comfortable with that. Green tea, it's funny, it was something that I'm always meaning to drink more of, but it is something I never do with any consistency. So I was really glad to see that that was something in here. I'm like, that's probably something that's a great supplement for me to take anyways. It's funny, you think about vitamins and minerals, iron, B vitamins to combat stress and cortisol levels, D, zinc. We know that it's important to keep that stuff at optimal levels is important, but it's so difficult when you're just doing it with diet. It can a lot of times lead to deficiencies. And I knew that, but yet I didn't make the correlation that that also impacts hair health and hair loss. I love that Proteron is working with all natural plant-based ingredients. So saw palmetto helps balance hormones, which was super important to me. I'm in menopause, so I need that. Everything that's listed on here, honestly, vitamins, nutrients, antioxidants, things that I'm familiar with, can mostly pronounce, and are also really good for my overall health. So as I was looking at all of this and doing my research, I'm like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Check this out. It is 2 super easy to swallow capsules per day. So I don't know about you, but that's something I can manage. And then within 6 months, I started to see little like baby hairs starting to grow. You see them on my temples still. Less hair in my brush. My hair was looking healthier and shinier. It was growing longer than it had in years. And I got a little hair confidence back. I mean, it's really been nothing short of amazing. My hairdresser actually just took a photo of me after our last color appointment so she could show some of her other clients. I mean, honestly, even she didn't think it was possible for my hair to grow like it has. Proteron by Febron has worked better than anything else I have ever tried. So if you are sick of suffering from hair loss and just want to see some positive changes, I have put the link to this in the link below. And in case no one has told you today, we are beautiful